What's good? What's happening? It's your favorite girl, Surprise, aka Sappy G, aka the hip hop fanatic, aka the girl with the PhD in hip hop, the sound, and not the people. If you get it, you get it. Today we have a bit of a different interaction. As you guys can see, I'm not alone. I am featuring the one and only Mr. Khaya, aka KD. Okay. Today we'll be having a sit down with Khaya, getting to know him. His creative side, creative process, and just talk about his music and his career. So first we're going to start with a little bit of an icebreaker and just, set the mood and get the vibe of what we'll be doing throughout the video.
And the pause with doors closing. I thought we'd end it off with something thought-provoking.
Well, with this one, I feel like I can only speak for myself. If you're under 35, just tell us in the comments. There's false prophets in Congress that preach an empty promise. Politicians' intentions don't seem to bring about progress. Another thing, how can we vote for 60-year-olds? There must be a joke. Put them in retirement homes and lock all the doors.
So before we get into the icebreaker, I'm just going to give Khaya, a chance to kind of introduce himself, who he is, where he's from, and what exactly is the reason that he's here. Okay, so Mr. Khaya, please take us through.
Yo. Kalibita Khaya DoomAKU. I'll start off with the question of you asking me why am I here. That's exactly what I'm asking you. Why are you here? Because we at my place. What she mean? Why am I here? I'm always here. But anyway, we finna handle a young, I don't know if it's an interview or a conversation, but whatever it is, we handling it. And what else did I have to say? Introduction. There's no need for it.
Issue.
You already know.
Shout out. Just to give you a brief, we are having a hangout with Khaya, and the reason why I asked why are you here is for you to elaborate on who you are and what you do. Okay, I could be hanging out with a medical doctor right now, asking him health questions. You know what I mean? But otherwise, if I were to Khaya, honestly speaking, olay me. Okay, I'm sorry, but like olay me. Otherwise, we're gonna start with the icebreakers. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, and you have to answer them as quickly as you can. Okay. First question: studio session all night or early morning session?
All night.
Nice. Okay. Would you rather have a hit song that you hate or a song you love that nobody ever gets to hear?
Damn. I lost because I didn't answer quick. I lost.
Okay. Okay. You have to be quick for this one too, okay? Would you rather cut off all your hair completely or accidentally release an unfinished song that you can never take down?
Release a song.
Okay. The hair has a personality, okay? Or rather, it's a part of the personality. Next question, okay? This one is intense, okay? Because I kind of got to hang out with you. So, would you rather your girl watch you for a whole day while you're with your boys without you knowing, or your boys watch you on a date also without you knowing?
Watch me on a date.
I low-key was expecting that answer. I low-key was expecting that answer. Okay. And then last question. This one you have a bit of time. Né? I want to ask, what's the one thing that you like that people could never expect from you?
One thing I like about myself,
Yeah.
or
Like something that you like to do, like something about you, maybe an activity. Maybe you can bake, and people wouldn't really expect you to know how to do that.
well, I'm a multifaceted person, so I do a lot of things. But one of the things would be like cooking. Like
Nice.
I be cooking in the kitchen and in the stove.
Issue, master of cooking. Okay. And then I have last 4 this or that questions. Né? First one, tear gas or trompies?
Tear gas.
Okay. Drake or Aries?
Reese.
Okay. Tato Soul or 25K?
So.
Cruise Africa or Kendrick?
Cruisiolas, my boy.
Shout out to Cruise Africa. Shout out. Okay, we've went through the icebreakers. Now I'm gonna take us through the questions and get to know Khaya and who he is and his creative process and all of that. So, with the first question, I actually wanted to ask if we do pronounce the AKU at the end of the name, but as you guys heard from the intro, It's Aku. Okay, so I practically got my answer, but also I'm assuming that Kaya is actually your first name, or rather, it is your, ID name. And Doom obviously probably has a story to it. So I would like for you to take us through, the name Khaya DoomAKU. What does it mean? Where does it come from?
Okay, so yeah, Kaya is my actual real name, my second name actually. I won't disclose the other name, but I feel like it's very easy for people to access it. So if you know, you know. But I'm not saying go and stalk me right now. But anyway, Dumaku is actually also my real surname, but my real surname is Dumako. So I just altered the Doom and then added the AKU, just a bit, give it a bit of an alteration. Because it may mean I'm my authentic self with my real names, but there's an alter in there. So I let them know what I want them to know.
All right, shout out. So with this question, right? It's like a two-part question. I kind of want to ask you about the big three, but not big three the project, but big three the brotherhood. I've noticed that there's this loop of features between you, Spoko and Frankness, and it's not really one directional that you get Kaya on this one's project only. It's like you guys are always featuring each other. So I'm assuming the relationship actually comes from somewhere, and where did it all start, and how have you guys maintained, I would rather call it a brotherhood, where did this friendship start and where does it come from?
So it's a friendship that started with music at its core, basically, and it has evolved ever since. So Spoko, I've known him since primary, but we weren't really familiar with each other back then. We only got reintroduced to each other in high school, where Damani Onatloa, like from HTS straight at Welcome High to like rap with us, and every time he'd pull up, it was like, yo, who is this guy? So yeah, after that, me and Spoko decided to, well, me, Spoko, and other homies of ours decided to open up a rap group. So me and Spoko have been working with each other. And we pulled up to PTA together, so it's a given. Me and Spoko probably have gang songs together, even unreleased music. And frankness, it's also music. I actually linked up with him the first time when we shot the cover art for Bucket. The cover art for Bucket was when I met Frankness for the first time. Like, yo, this dude is so short in person. I was like, yo. But anyway, yeah. Frankness, but we did have songs we worked on prior to us meeting for the first time. So, yeah, it's a friendship that started with music and it's really turned into a brotherhood right now. So, yeah, those are my brothers for real.
Yeah, shout out to Spooky and Fragrance. And now I want to ask about Big Three, the project, right? How did you guys approach it, creatively? Like, especially in terms of, the beat selection and the writing process. And obviously, shout out to Hype Magazine as they highlighted that, there's chemistry between you guys. How did you guys ensure that, the chemistry was translated into the music?
It's not really something difficult to do. I feel like chemistry, it's harder to display when y'all are sending each other joints, but when y'all are in studio together, it's simple because y'all are there together. You give each other recommendations, but with all of us, we basically know what we're doing. So it's like, it's kind of disrespectful when you tell Spoken, yo, Spoken, nah, dog, this ad lib ain't working. So it's like, it's all about the trust. We trust each other to know, I know what you're doing. Even if I don't understand it at the time, I know what you're doing. And most of the times we understand what the other is doing. And in terms of the beat selections, it was just combining all the beats we had. I even had to whip out old beats because we were struggling with beats. And I actually realized I have a lot of beats.
Nice. Shout out.
Yeah, so everyone just took out the beats they had in the vault. We made songs, and it was just a gathering that we planned, and we made music, dropped. We didn't even want to think about it too much, and everything fell perfectly in place.
Yeah, man. Shout out for that. And I don't want to lie, just to add on, I think the big three was something that I really didn't know that I wanted. I actually was kind of hoping I'd come across maybe a few songs where it's the three of you guys. There are songs, obviously, where it's the three of you guys, but I really didn't know that I actually wanted a project until the big three came out. And like, Hype Magazine said, like, that project has so much chemistry, and I said in a video that, it's like, if a person is coming across the three of you guys for the first time with that project, it's literally a dope representation. There's a lot of individuality, but at the same time, it's like there's unity too. So shout out to you guys. Stream Big Three. Okay, if you haven't tapped in yet, tap in. Okay, that project is insane. Okay, shout out once again to Frankness and Spoko. Okay, so recently, like, I had a conversation with my mom talking about how, hunger, or rather struggle, often, breeds hunger for success, right? And in your music, you touch a lot about coming from the mud. And there's a song that I came across where you were talking about, there's a time your mom was not working, and I could imagine how hard that is. So I want to ask, right, would you say that, the struggle that you talk about in your music, does it play a role in your hunger, for the success, or rather, would you have had the hunger for the success no matter the circumstances?
Um, yeah, I think it is true that my circumstances actually do play a pivotal role in how I approach this thing, and it's like I come from afar and I'm far away trying to chase something. I don't have my parents here or anything. Like, I'm literally by myself trying to figure out my own way. So yeah, it's definitely that, just trying to get your life in order. And I'm like one of those people that I'm always like thinking on how to become a better person, or how to better represent myself or express myself to the whole world. So yeah, I do feel like everything plays a part into how I approach it. Even my laziness plays a part, because sometimes you can be hungry, but sometimes it's like, damn, can let's make the hunger wait for a minute. Let's be full for a minute. But yeah, it does play a pivotal role, especially considering where I'm from. Like, not a lot of people get to do what I'm doing, so I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and I do hope, God forbid, that I play with the opportunity.
Shout out, man. Shout out to you for that, representing Odendaal. Am I saying it right? Odandaal. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? So I recently came across a freestyle on Spoko's YouTube account, and yeah, we have to talk about that freestyle, but we'll talk about it after the interview, okay? I have a lot of opinions on it, but however, I want to ask, at what moment did you realize that this is not just something that you do, rather something that you were meant to do?
Um, when did I realize that's something I'm meant to do? Um, I don't ever. I don't think I've ever gotten the realization though, yo, this is something I'm meant to do. It's just something that I always want to do. So I feel like if I keep choosing it, it will choose me back. You feel me? So I don't believe it's by chance or something. It's something that I actually spend time to do and try to perfect and try to give it care. So I'd say it's not the realization, but just um the build up of the mentality. It's At first it used to be just a hobby, and then I see it started bringing like a bit of money, or a bit of traction, and then now it's like, okay, let me take it a bit more serious and see what happens. Then right after that, something happens. Then it's all a continuation of just testing the waters.
Shout out. Okay, so this question is a little bit personal to me. We talked about the struggle, and how it can build hunger, and it's something that you touch on your music, right? However, on the song Gero Mamaz, you shift into a more inspirational space, talking about the ability of fall, you know what I mean, and as someone who's experienced, struggle, I found it a bit difficult, to have inspiration during those times of, struggle. And I want to lie, it's like I hear you, God, I gotta wait, be patient, but it's like when, so I want to know, like, how do you personally, balance the reality of struggle with the message of hope and faith, which you kind of both express in your music?
Every time I experience trouble, I'll be like, here we go again. I feel like it's just something I'm so used to. I know it has to be night before it can be day, and it has to be day before it can be night. So nothing is ever everlasting. Everything is temporary. So I just approach struggle with that. As long as I'm consistent with what I know I want to push, so I'll keep pushing through the rainy days and through days that are all sunny and whatever. So I'm all about just, even if I'm mentally in a bad state, I'm good enough to keep pushing.
Sure. I get that. So basically, it's like you don't let whatever moment you're having, the struggle or the inspiration, determine whether you're gonna lock in or not. It's like I'm locking in whether I'm having a bad day or not. So I really really like that. I think that's very inspirational. Like I said, I've kind of struggled with, like, in a moment of distress. It's like, when is it gonna get better? You know what I mean? So shout out for that. I think that's very inspirational. And if you're watching this, I hope that it's life changing for you. And I know we're living in a time that a lot of things are happening, unemployment, and it's like it's so depressing being at home and all these things. But if there's one thing we can learn from one of my favorite rappers, okay, is that you gotta push through the struggle, whether it's rainy or sunny or whatever. You just gotta lock in and do what you gotta do. Shout out. So sometimes I struggle with classifying hip-hop. Like we spoke earlier, I said bucket is a trap song. Which is insane if you think about it. But because there's so many like layers within the hip-hop genre, right? And in the case of songs like bucket, it has more of a more energetic and vibe driven, whereas with songs like Why They Hating, it's more on a conscious and message focused type of perspective. So how would you describe your sound to someone who's cheering you for the first time? And how would you personally classify the genres or styles you feel you touch on within the hip-hop rap scene?
You think Why They Hating is message based?
Yeah. Like you're sending out a message.
What message am I sending out on Why They Hating?
Yeah. Basically, like according to the title.
Oh, okay. I thought you just meant it in Why They Hating is deep or something, and it's not really a deep song.
Come on,
but
it is. Who's hating? Let's be honest. Pull out names.
Who's hating?
Yeah.
Hey, a lot of them. A lot of. But you're doing something great if you're getting the hate.
Sure. Facts.
But anyway, the question was,
how would you personally classify, the genres and styles that you touch on the hip-hop scene? Or
okay.
rather, how would you describe your sound to someone who's hearing it for the first time?
How I would describe my sound is basically just hip-hop. Anything hip-hop expected from me, whether it's melodic, whether it's intense and sinister, expected from me, whether it's comedic, expected, whether it's deep or whatever. I'm just expressing myself through the medium, which is hip-hop, and I don't really like adhere to limitations and like that. So I just do anything hip-hop. That's how I describe my sound. It's like core hip-hop, strict hip-hop, and just anything hip-hop.
All right, this is a bit of a freestyle question just to add on what you're saying, right? I get all you basically do hip-hop. So are you saying, those underground sounds like your Brother Cooper type of sound, do you think you could hop on that? If I was to cook up a beat like that, I don't know how to make beats, by the way, but if I was to cook up a beat like that, you think you could eat that up?
Yeah, those beats are crazy.
Yeah,
those beats are crazy, but obviously I would hop on it in my own way. It would have a Khaya Doom stamp on it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm basically saying like that's hip hop, so
Sure.
for sure.
Alright. Hey, shout out, shout out. So, we kind of talked about this earlier, okay? I don't care, respectfully, what your favorite song that you've ever made is, but my personal favorite Kaya song, Bucket all the way, okay? Bucket is my anthem. My mom probably knows the song too, the way I play so much, okay? Okay, I'm kidding. She probably doesn't. But I want to know, like, I want to know about your, creative process, like, how do you go about, like, making a song, writing a song, putting out a song? But I want us to start with Bucket. Like, how did you make Bucket? Like, how did you come up with that? Like the hook and everything. Like, what inspired it? I want to know a bit about Bucket, but at the same time, I want to know like your creative process. How do you write? Beat selection and all of that.
Okay, the nice thing about the process of bucket, it ties in with the question of how do I do creatively. I feel like it's always a different approach. With bucket, I had already written the verse, but on a different beat, and it was just a verse. It wasn't a song. And then I got the beat from Spoke, where like it's been sent to him. It's been laying on his phone, and like somehow it got its way to me. And right after I got that beat, thought of a hook.
Yeah.
I just thought of a hook. I knew this beat wanted something catchy, so I'm gonna start off the hook explaining, or maybe like just setting the mood, and then where the beat drops, that's where it's like we're going crazy with
Sure, sure, sure.
the catchiness. But after I got the hook, I just went through my verses, and I'm like, oh,
This will be
this
perfect.
one fits perfectly because the beat gave away like a ghetto hood scenery,
Sure,
and
sure.
that verse I had written that time I was back at home when I wrote it, and
Yeah.
it just tied perfectly, especially the part where I'm like, I come from Odandaal,
Yeah.
Mola Mautibadi Dal, where you find the cutest of bitches speaking that Tsotsi Dal.
Dal,
Ije
yeah.
mal, ije befok, Melanis Muchoha, Aya Khatala Katseba Kizolo Tamada. So yeah,
Shout out.
for that process it was like that, but for the most part, my process is like just decide to make a song. That's my process. Sometimes is I get a dope beat. Okay, I have an idea for this beat. Let me record it real quick. Just record a bit of that, and then tomorrow get on the song and finish it. But yeah, it's different processes that
Yeah.
lead to the same result.
Yeah, all right, that's dope. And okay, this is another freestyle question, but otherwise, Bucket is my favorite, man. Like that song is insane. It goes hard. If you don't know Bucket, bro, like, do you even know Kaya? Do you even know? No. Okay, check it out. But otherwise, I wanna ask, right, with your projects, earlier I did tell you that I almost became a rapper. I didn't want to bother you guys. I was like, let me just chill. Let me just chill. These niggas are gonna go bad. Yeah, well, let me just chill. Yeah, well, so I wanna ask, right? One thing that I struggled with that made me quit, wanting to be a rapper was, coming up with a concept and idea. So when you make a project, do you sit down and say, okay, this is the theme for the project, or you just go insane? Because I recently came across a project by an artist and it was all over the place. I didn't know what the context of the project was. It was not really that bad, but I like when a project kind of has direction, but also even when it doesn't, it's just like giving me a bit of mixed emotions. So like, when you write your projects, or rather, curate your projects, do you, have a theme for it? And usually what inspires that theme? Is it the environment, or is it just something you just have been thinking about, or is it like a moment thing? Like, okay, right now I'm hanging out with Surprise. I'm going to write a project about an interview. You know what I mean? So how do you go about the themes of your project?
It's the same chat with how I go about my creative process. It's sometimes it's spontaneous, sometimes it's planned through, sometimes it's overly planned that the plan doesn't work and I end up not executing it. But it's all just freestyle in life. There's projects where I'm actually like tapped in and really thinking about everything, and then you know a minor hiccup would pull through, and I'd divide that project into different projects just because it works with this one. But I would say I'm very intentional with my projects, unless it's a project where I do say in the title for yo, it's something like a compilation of songs. But most of the time is especially with like new age bands, I make sure all the songs are properly sequenced and there's a basically main idea behind it. So I'm not just a shuffle artist.
Shout out, man. So how you feel, and Dipapadi from the AB March project. I hope I'm saying his name right, because he was just correcting me on a rapper's name. Yeah, no. Anyways, we'll talk about that. Those songs are very beautiful, and they are kind of like love, kind of centered, And I've always actually wanted to ask artists this question, right? When it comes to songs that are love centered, songs that focus on relationships, romance, and all of that, emotional vulnerability, what really inspires that direction for you? And do you write from a personal experience? And the reason I'm asking this is because when I heard how you feel, I was like, actually, you could have like an R&B project where you collaborate with a female artist or something like that. So like that kind of collaboration, would it also be something that you consider? Like, how do you go about writing love songs? And would you ever consider having like a collab project that is like kind of neo soul, alternative R&B type of vibe, revolving?
Yeah, definitely. I would. I feel like what activates my creativity is the beat. So that's why I feel like the industry relies heavily on producers, and sometimes they don't get their flowers enough for carrying the game with the sounds. But if my producers decided to be like, "Yo, Kaya, we sending you just R&B beats right now. Like, no more hip hop beats for you. Do this." I'll definitely log in. But if you send me an R&B beat and a trap beat and a boom bap beat, and out of those three, the boom bap beat is the one that's most fire, or the one I resonate with more, I'm definitely hopping on the boom bap one. Same thing goes to if the R&B one is the most fire, that's the one we're using. So it all depends on the sounds. If I got the sounds, then all I do is just fill in the canvas.
You didn't answer my question. When you talk about love, is it a personal experience? Why God Kaya is ducking the lover boy question? Hey Kaya, what's going on that Tswayza freestyle? You said you started lapping before you started dating. Kananga Mantero. You said you started dating who? Yeah, yeah, or something. I don't know. Come on, man. What inspires, when it comes to like writing love songs? Is there like a scenario or a situation ship you've been in that kind of led to, especially all I need in this life is me and my girlfriend? You know what I mean? Like, what inspired that? So, can you blush about it? There's something to talk about. Yeah. Come on. Take us through. Kaya. In a way, there's something to know. Come on. Give the fans the information.
The funny thing about me and my girl is like, um, I made that song while I was in a relationship. So, yes, to answer your question, my songs or the love songs are based on, past experiences.
Sure.
Sometimes you know, it's just hypothetically, because I'd be saying some wild shit, and, sometimes I'd say something that I'd never actually said to a girl, you know. I'm disclaiming. So, the thing with the me and my girl one, when I decided to drop the song, the relationship was over.
Damn, I'm sorry.
The relationship was over. So, yeah, hey, I'm not the best in the love department.
Shout out, and to the girl the song "Me and My Girl" was dedicated to. Shout out to you, because that song is fire. Okay, I think it's one of the songs I would actually play at my wedding. I'm gonna actually have a playlist rap songs I'd play at my wedding. It's one of the songs. Okay, shout out to Kaya. Shout out to Kaya for being a lover boy that is not really a lover boy, because I said department that high. But anyways, we'll talk about that some other time. Okay. So with moments like your recent feature on Hype Magazine, and shout out to Hype Magazine, by the way, and your appearance on the Tswayza Show, shout out to Tswayza also, where your freestyle honestly got it got a lot of recognition. People went crazy. I personally still rewatch that freestyle. It feels like you're stepping into bigger industry spaces, and when opportunities like this come your way, how do you approach them? Do you see them as moments where like you need to prove yourself, or as confirmation that you've already earned your place in the industry?
It's both, actually, because I've always moved with the notion that it's easier to get it and harder to maintain it. So it's basically confirmation for I'm actually doing something, but at the same time, it reminds me for I need to keep doing something, you know. I've come too far to step back and look back and fall behind or whatever, you know. So yeah, it is a moment to prove myself, and at the same time, it's a movement that shows you like I'm actually progressing, you know. Because I did say in the episode, you'll feel like a loser if you don't celebrate the small wins. So I've always like built my career off that celebrating the small wins, which obviously gave me confidence and more get me more reaffirmed as to who I am and what I represent, and how far I can take it. I still don't know how far I can take it. I'm just taking a shot at the wind and seeing where the bullet will end up. So that's basically it.
All right, shout out, man. And one last question, looking at your journey, also thinking about that freestyle I was telling you about where you were in high school, which we still need to discuss. That freestyle, guys. I'm gonna link it. I the stuff I was saying, they were bars, but I'm concerned about those bars. But like, I wanna ask, right? Like, looking at your journey, from that moment, coming from the mud and from where to where you are now, what do you think your younger self, would say, if he was to see who Khaya has grown to be in the music space and just as a person in general.
Damn, it's a bit two-sided. I feel like for the younger me to understand what I am now, he'd have to go through what the me now.
Okay.
So that's what it is. I feel like he wouldn't know what to think. He wouldn't know what to think. I'm not sure if he would be disappointed or be like crazy, but I know that me now is like, I'm currently like, grateful for life and grateful for everything that's happening around me. I feel like when you're younger, your dreams are a bit more based on a hunch, and when you get older, it's something you actually carve out precisely as much as you can, at least. So yeah, they'd have to go through what I went through, basically, to answer your question.
All right, now, man, shout out to you and thank you so much for the sit down. We had a hangout at the first. We have hung out before, and during that first hangout, it was so awkward for me, guys. I was so freaking shy, so it had to happen. And but thank you for this opportunity. It means so much to me on a very personal level because I love rap music so much. It means everything to me. And like I said, Horgedo Memoirs is one of the songs that kind of keep me going. Keeps me inspired every now and again when I lose hope. But otherwise, man, shout out to you. Thank you so much for your time. And I know you're a busy person. Obviously, being in this side in PTA, you're busy with your own things. But otherwise, man, shout out to you. And one last question: should we be expecting any music coming up? Because like you guys mentioned, who the big three, you just randomly dropped it. Okay, are you gonna randomly drop an independent or rather your own project anytime soon? Should we be expecting something, something from Mr. Khaya in 2026?
Okay, I don't know when this video is gonna drop, but yeah, I'm gonna drop something in like a week. So, and I'm only gonna do the rollout right now. I know it sounds bad, but it's actually not bad. I'm like, I really got it like that. The what matters most is the music. So yeah, I am dropping something, and it's something really personal, and it's something that's actually well thought out. It has a story, and I really think people are gonna love it because it's one of those projects where I look at it and I'm like, okay, nah, this is my best work because it has dope songs that carry out the project and perfectly paint the picture.
All right, man. Shout out to you and shout out to the person watching, whoever's watching this, to the people watching. Shout out to you for staying this far. We have come to the end of the video. Yeah, I don't know. Next time, when we're interviewing Khaya, maybe Clever Tlaguri Gravy. You never know. You know what I mean? But shout out to you. Son Levala, do man. Come on. I'm kidding, but shout out to you, man, and to everybody watching. Stay tuned, and thank you for watching my first ever interview. Very much honored to have Khaya. Khaya is actually one of my top 10 all-time favorite rappers. Okay, so this is very much a special moment, like I said. Otherwise, stay tuned for many, many more interviews to come.
You didn't tell us where we at.
Maybe, what do you mean?
What's the name of this channel?
Come on, bro. I introduced myself. It's the SAPG channel. And I'm also still gonna come up with the name, bro. Come on. I thought we were gonna brainstorm. Khaya, come on. How could you do me, bro? How could you do me like this, bro?
So this is how we're gonna do it. Okay, guys. This is the SAPG channel. We gotta leave y'all, unfortunately. But to see us again, you gotta subscribe, comment, and hit the bell notification. You know, you gotta do the things so that you can see us again, and you know, we can be able to render ourselves to you. Exactly. So hit the like. It sounds like I'm selling myself, but hey yo, this is me trying to get into sales. How you know I haven't already done that?
Don't traumatize. I want to interact with people, so that's all.
I'm cool. I'm safe.
Khaya's safe,
Sell
guys.
yourself. You have to like give away.
I am not cutting this out. I want to know my story. But otherwise, shout out to Khaya once again. Like he said, like, subscribe, share, you know, come back if you want to watch this video. I'm definitely going to watch this on a loop, okay? Shout out to you guys once again for getting to this point, to many more interviews. I'm still coming up with the title for this, but yeah, man. Shout out to Khaya, representing Odandaal. Yeah, representing Odandaal, from Odandaal to the world, okay? Otherwise, stay tuned for more. Shout out.